right, our first page in our language arts composition notebook that is involving notes is going to be in this lesson today. So far you should only have done in your language arts composition notebooks your table of contents and your journal guidelines. You shouldn't have any other things done in this composition notebook. So now we're going to put the first page in. So I'm going to flip to my next available page, whether that's the front of the page for you or the back side of a page for you. For me, it is the back side of my journal guidelines page, so I'm going to make that my next page. We do not waste any pages in these notebooks. We want to make sure we use both the fronts and the backs of every page. All right, you may go ahead and put the title, Types of Sentences, up at the top of your page. Now, you've worked with these before, so I'm sure you could probably already tell me the 4 types of sentences as well as what punctuation mark they end with. And you can probably find them in a sentence. However, we're just going to quickly review them. So you were given a packet, paper-clipped packet, either at the beginning of this class or the last time you were in class with me. And we are only going to be working with that top half sheet that is the first page in the packet. So you should see declarative, imperative, interrogative, and exclamatory on there. You're going to take that packet or that sheet out of the packet, and you're going to set the rest of the packet aside. We're not going to be working with those until later on in the unit. This is just the first day of the unit's notes. Okay, so eventually what we're going to do is we're going to be cutting some of these to have little flaps that we're going to write information under, and then as well as gluing this into your composition notebook. So what I'm going to have you do, after your title is written on the page, you're going to fill that page out in your table of contents. So mine is on page 10. So I'm going to write types of sentences on my page 10 in my table of contents. Once that is done, I'm going to flip back to my page. And I'm going to take this half sheet of paper and I'm actually going to flip it so these bold words are facing down. And these small boxes are on the back side, or are facing up. Okay, that were on the back side are facing up now. So to fold and cut this foldable, you're going to take this side that has the definition word 4 times, and you're actually going to fold this over and you're going to fold it on this line that's in the middle here. So when you fold it, it's actually going to line up as best as you can there, maybe a little farther. It's going to line up with your types of sentences text that's over here, okay? So when you're done, it should look like this, a little book with the 4 types here, types of sentences here. The back side should be completely blank, okay? Then when we open it up, you should have the definition in the examples on the inside, okay? Now what I'm going to have you do is you're going to take your scissors and you will notice if you hold your foldable up in the light, you can see the line on the other side of this tab here. You're actually going to kind of hold it up so you can see where those lines are. You're going to cut on those lines, but you're going to stop at the crease where you fold it. So you're actually going to have 4 tabs on this front side here when everything is said and done. Okay, so when you're done, it should look like this. You should have, sorry, the top tab is a little bit bigger, but you should have 4 tabs on the front. Each type of sentence is going to have its own tab. You should be able to flip it open, and you have the definition in the example for that type of sentence there. Same thing with all of the rest of them that are on the page here. Okay. Once you have those cut, we're going to flip it over, and we're going to glue this blank back side onto the page in our composition. So I'm going to take my glue, and I'm just going to glue the back of it like this. And this is all we're putting on this page, so you can actually put it right in the middle of the page. You can put it at the top, you can put it wherever you wish on this page. Okay, make sure you press it down pretty good. And that is all we need to do to set up our folder. All right, now we're going to start taking notes. If you are not done with this now, please pause this video so you can finish the cutting and the gluing. Once you're ready to start taking the notes, you may press play again. But I'm going to start with the notes right now. So, like we've talked about, there are 4 types of sentences. Okay, 4 types. First type is declarative. Imperative is the second type. Interrogative is the third. And exclamatory is the fourth. We're going to just take a look at declarative for a second. And you might have some assessments, whether formative or summative, where you are labeling the types of sentences. And if that's the case, sometimes I'll let you abbreviate them. I'm going to write the abbreviations for those specific types of sentences on the front of this tab here, just so that you have them. There may be times where you're abbreviating the word declarative, and if that's the case, you're just going to write DEC, period. Imperative abbreviated would be IMP, period. Interrogative would be INT, period. And exclamatory, we can just write EX, period. Now that we have that, we are going to just work on one tab at a time. The first tab is going to be declarative. So I'm going to give you the definition of declarative. Move out of the way here. The definition, and again, make sure that you pause this if you need to while you are writing the definition. Declarative sentences tell a statement and they end in a period. So they always tell a statement. It's just a matter-of-fact sentence. There's nothing exciting really going on in the sentence. There's no question being asked. It's just a statement. An example, I don't think I can go camping this weekend. Period. Okay, so it's just telling a statement. There's no question being asked. There's no exclamation point being used at the end. It's just telling a statement, ends in a period. Now I want you to flip to the front of this tab. We're going to write the punctuation mark that goes with that type of sentence over here in the end. So I'm just going to draw in a little circle or a dot to show that that type of sentence ends in a period. Okay. Now let's move on to imperative. Imperative is the next one. These are giving a command or a request. Give a command / request. And most of the time they end in a period. An example, Carmen, put your backpack away. I always tend to tell kids that these sentences, which are labeled imperative, are most of the time sentences or phrases that you would maybe hear from your parents, your grandparents, or your teacher. And they're always usually a command or a request for you to do something. Carmen, put your backpack away. Trevor, make your bed. Silo, pick up your toy. They're all telling the other person receiving this phrase or this sentence to do something. Okay, so there's always an action required with it. So I always tell kids, think of your parents or your teacher. What would they say? And if this is something that they would tell you to do, chances are it's going to be an imperative sentence. Okay? All right, the next one is interrogative. Interrogative. Oh, sorry. We have to go back to imperative. Imperative, they always end in a period, so I'm going to put that period there. All right, interrogative. These ask a question, as you probably know. And they end in a question mark. So they're called interrogative or interrogative. You may hear it pronounced either way. The root word of that type of sentence is to interrogate. And if you know the definition of that word, or you've probably seen this word used on like a crime show, if you watch those types of TV shows, or maybe have even read it in a book, it's when someone is being questioned about something, or an interview, they're being interrogated. Like being interviewed with a celebrity on a TV show, they're still technically being interrogated. So interrogate means to ask a question, so that's why it's called an interrogative or interrogative. You can pronounce it either way, type of sentence. Okay, here's your example. What did you bring for lunch today? Okay, these are pretty easy to spot because they will always end in a question mark no matter what. They're never going to be ending in a period or an exclamation point, so they're pretty easy to spot. Question mark. A lot of the times they will start with those question words: who, what, when, where, why, how, all of those W words that you've probably learned about in the past. All right, exclamatory is the last one. These probably pretty easy to spot as well in a sentence or on a sheet or in an assessment because they express strong feeling. And they end in an exclamation point. So they express strong feeling and they end in an exclamation point. Hence the name exclamatory. Exclamation point and exclamatory have that same root word in there. All right, here is your example. That car is out of control. Exclamation point. Okay, so normally that's probably saying that there's maybe about to be a car accident that's happening or they're driving like crazy. And if you're saying this out loud to someone that you were with, chances are you would say it with a lot of strong feeling. That car is out of control. And maybe that accident would happen, maybe not. Okay, lots of different examples of this. This is just one example. So flip to the front tab, and we're going to put our exclamation point on the front to show that that is the quick punctuation mark that ends the sentence. Attached to this assignment on Google Classroom will be a Google form that you will be answering the questions on there. You're going to determine what type of sentences or what type of sentence are the sentences that will be given to you in the Google form. So follow the directions. Chances are you'll be able to use your abbreviations here. Just make sure that you are making sure that there's a difference between IMP and INT because they look very similar. So look for the Google form at the end of this assignment and let me know if you have any questions.